Wow. We're here. We've been fighting computers and connections for the last 20 minutes, but we are actually here and we're live, and we're going to do the best we can with what we've got going on. So, of course, we have Top Jimmy in the house, James Williams.
Hello.
And we've got Stephanie with us. No, we probably are not going to have clapping noises and music today. We have Sherry joining us. Gina's coming from the Caribbean, and part of the issue, again, we don't have a camera. And our wonderful +1 guest, Christine Bowen.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And I'm excited to have you. Hey, somebody has control of the clapping. Thank you. I'm excited to have you here, Christine. I came across you because Stephanie introduced us this week, but I gotta say, you have one of the coolest profile pictures out there. I gotta say,
Thank you so much.
Profile pic. So, all right. So, Stephanie, we're doing things a little different this week. What's up?
Well, we have decided that we're going to try something new, and we're going to inspire and motivate in the first part of the show, and then we're going to do a little education in the second part of the show. And the big twist, I think, this week is that we're going to talk about, funnily enough, change. So instead of having people try to guess what the theme of this week's show is, we're going to give you the theme. But what we want all of our audience members to do is to be thinking about what your biggest takeaway is as we go through the show, and then put that in the comments for us so that we can see who we think got closest to the biggest takeaway from today's show.
There you go. Good deal. So, hey guys, tell me something. Am I backwards? I'm looking at the profile image here, and it looks like all my writing is backwards. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah. Yes, I think you're backwards.
Of course I'm backwards.
We've known that for a long time. This is not new news.
I knew my sisters would come to my rescue here and explain quickly.
Does that mean I'm backwards too? Because
you're not backwards. Only Dennis.
Only Dennis. Okay.
I have no idea why, but I know how to fix it. I just don't know why I'm backwards. So, well, I fixed that. Let's go ahead and look at, here we go. There, that should fix it. And it's not.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you're not backwards.
Good.
Yay.
Yay.
Isn't that cool?
Always a quick fix.
Always a quick fix. See, I can do other cool
Still
things.
backwards, but anyways. No, your words are right, but you're still backwards. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm muting myself again.
I got a new app I can play with and have all sorts of fun. I got to show you guys this. This one, I don't know why, it makes me want to talk like Bob and Doug McKenzie every time I see myself in this.
Okay.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about small business and change, eh? But, like, first we need some beer and back bacon, eh? Okay, sorry. Wow. All right. We're already off the rails here. So, our subject for today is change. Now, what we want from our audience is to tell us, in the last half hour, we want to know what education piece we can give you, me from a marketing standpoint, Christine as our brand expert, +1 guest this week, finance coming from Arizona and Stephanie Sims, and out of the Caribbean, experience as an entrepreneur from our 3-time serial entrepreneur and addicted business starter girl, Gina Dominica. So, what can we do to help you? What things in change, and if you don't have anything, then we're going to talk about Google Plus change, so there you go. We'll be watching the comment threads for that. James needs to get out of here today.
I'm sorry, I'm doing it again.
Yeah, James has some family obligations, And if I had control of my sound effects, I would definitely give you...
Wah, wah, wah.
No, I'd give you some good stuff if you were, if I could do them, but some clapping or some cheering or something.
Oh, yay.
Or maybe this.
Families first, man. Yeah,
Right.
we're running out of time. That's a good one. Way to play it. So, James, we were going to do something really cool with multiple cameras, and that computer is just fighting me today. So you get to do your thing from right there.
I have to improvise.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Look, you're completely gone now.
You've disappeared, James.
Absolutely freaking awesome. So now you're supposed to do it without even being on camera. I have no idea how to fix this.
He's back.
and you-
Now he's back.
Wow. I'm telling you, this computer is like... But we can't see you.
Uh-oh. I'm sorry to say Cheryl's worried about you, Dennis. It's not, Cheryl, I promise, it's not just Dennis. Everything is, there's weird stuff happening. It's not just Dennis. Don't worry.
The gremlins are attacking today. And no, I'm actually... Cheryl, here's the key. I'm still on camera. And I'm able to smile. So...
So he's
It's
doing
gonna be
good.
an okay night. Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
It's doing good.
But I have no idea how... This is just like whatever with this computer. Holy cow. Okay. So, I'm going to stand up, and you're going to take my seat. I can't think of any other thing to do.
Okay. Well,
So-
first, well, I guess we'll do that, huh?
Yeah, because you need to, like, show some stuff, right?
I do.
Okay, so I'm moving. You're taking my spot. Bye, audience.
Bye. Yay.
So, today's about... Hello. Today's about change, so we changed seats.
Here we go.
A piece of advice. I had something else prepared before we changed to change, so I got to change up my talk about change. But a piece of advice for, I'm going to be obvious now and say stress management. And if things are stressing you out, well, you got to change them. That's kind of an obvious thing, and I think everybody's probably been told that, you know, if this is stressing you out, change it. Well, we all know that, but accepting that is different. So my piece of advice on stress management today is to accept that things need to be changed if they're stressing you out. I'm a trainer, as we know, so I'm going to talk about one of my clients who is battling weight and battling stress, and I spend half of my time talking to this person about how to manage her stress instead of working out, and this person doesn't change it. It's the same thing. I've been working out with her for over a year, and no, it's not Cheryl, so... Cheryl tries very hard to change things that aren't right. This is somebody else. I'm not going to use a gender or anything just in case. So, but she doesn't. Well, I just that doesn't count. This person doesn't accept that things need to change in her life, and she's in control of that. So make sure you're able to change what is stressing you out. And like Dennis said, we were going to switch cameras. I'm also going to give you a quick stress-reducing exercise, and we were going to change cameras for this. So I've also got to improvise this one because we can't get the camera to change. So we're going to save the one I was going to do for next week.
We're going to at least get it further back so that you can see
Whoa! That was crazy. That was a freebie. Okay, so here's a relaxation technique. We've done the good morning stretch several times. This is very similar, but a little slower. And I want anybody out there to tell me what's in common with it and why it's important. What's in common with the good morning stretch and why it's important? People that have been on before and know what I'm talking about. So we're going to add to this next week, but here's a very simple one you can do in your chair. We're going to put our fingertips together like so. This creates a pathway for energy, okay? And we're going to sit straight up. Our arms are out. Close your eyes. Exhale through your mouth. We're going to breathe in very slowly through our nose.
And sneeze because it's spring.
Dennis. Okay, breathe in very slowly through your nose and raise your hands above your head, stretching your chest out, stretching your shoulders out. Till your touching fingers touch each other at the top. And you're going to exhale through your mouth very slowly and come back down. We're going to do this 5 times, but if you're doing this to reduce stress,
I need to reduce.
you're going to want to do it for at least 1 minute. Exhale through your mouth. Really try to open your chest, stretching your shoulders, reaching for the sky, in through your nose, out through your mouth. 2 more. One more. Okay. So, this is okay for the host to answer this question, or anybody in the audience that happens to be there. If you've watched it before and you know what the good morning stretch is, what do they have in common? I'm not
Got
sure
your
that's-
arms moving in both of them.
That's right, we're stretching out here, and the reason being is that expands our lungs, gives the lungs plenty of room to take in a lot of air and be as big as they can, allowing more oxygen to flow in there. So if you're into sports, you'll often see sport guys doing this, and that's the same thing. That's allowing your lungs to expand as far as they can, allowing oxygen in there, because oxygen is a stress reliever. If you've ever noticed, when you're getting stressed out, your breathing becomes short and more rapid. And that's a flight response. That's a fight or flight response. And it's actually going to give you more stress because you're not going to fight or flight. You're sitting at your desk on a computer. So the way to counteract that, those deep breathing exercise, make sure your lungs are expanded. Okay? That's my stuff for today. I'm going to hang around as long as I can and be involved, but I'm going to have to go pretty soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's really great. Thank you, Jimmy. James.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Either way.
All right, the cameraman's back in front of the camera. Huh.
Back to hi. You guys see me on that one? No.
Oh, we had the wrong word up the whole time.
That's all right.
Okay.
Hey, is it coincidence that word deuce is in reduce stress?
Oh, nice.
I'll have to work more on that, apparently. That's what you're saying?
I was saying you have it mastered.
There you go,
Oh,
yay!
okay. Yes, Elena, it is basically a yoga lesson. A simple technique for reducing stress in any way, shape, or form. And basically, this show is all about like helping you succeed in whatever aspect of business you're in. And for me personally, stress reduction is a major piece of that. As anyone who knows me can attest.
I know you can't see me, but Elena, you're absolutely right. It was yoga, and if we could have switched to the other camera, you would have seen a full yoga move there. And just for all our listeners and attendees, yoga is a huge stress relief and a great calorie burn. Sign up for your yoga classes.
Okay, I'm loving Jimmy already.
Sounds like Top Jimmy is Christine approved.
All right.
All right. So, let's roundtable this a little bit. We had some yay, that was really great, but what are some thoughts that you guys have? And I'm about to have kids come in the front door.
One thing that I found really interesting when you were talking about stress relief, Dennis, is the fact that most people see change as the cause of stress. You know, they're like, oh, well, you know, I thought everything was going good and then something changed, and so it increases their stress level. And so I really liked what James had to say about the idea that you just need to accept that change is always going to happen, right? And I read a book, I can't remember where it was now, but the person said, I think it was about public speaking, and the person said, you know, a lot of people, when they feel the butterflies in their stomach, they interpret that as, I'm nervous, I'm scared, and they get that fight or flight response. But the people who can be successful are the people who can actually interpret that as excitement. Yeah, I got this weird little flutter in my stomach, but it's because something cool is about to happen. And when they reframe it, it helps them keep their stress under control. And so I really thought that was great about, you know, acknowledging that things will always change.
Yes, when it comes to the athletes that I work with, or I often coach Little League football or other Little League sports, and the kids get the butterflies constantly. I constantly preach to them that exact same thing, Stephanie, that is not stress or nervousness. That is your body preparing you for what you need to do.
Well, and if we can look at it that way, I think that, you know, it doesn't happen overnight, clearly, but if we can kind of retrain our brains to not interpret that little butterfly feeling as something bad, but something good, maybe that helps us keep the stress level down, too. I don't know, Christine, what do you think?
Change is a word that I'm very familiar with, like we all are in business. What comes to mind is what is famously known as the Serenity Prayer. Help me accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And for me, I'm with you, Stephanie. It's all about what's happening right here. It's how we're looking at the change as opposed to what's actually happening. James was right on point. If we just stay calm, do that kind of de-stressor, and focus on the circumstance or whatever it is, we can deal with it in a much better way. So I always recite that so that I don't stress myself out.
And you guys are going to laugh. Phil said that he thinks there should be more yoga and meditation on business shows. So thank you.
Yes.
Phil. We're starting a new trend.
Our rule-breaking friend, way to go. Absolutely. I agree. And I want to point out, Jessica Maynard says, I used Yoga for Dummies video to start learning yoga. Need to do that more. Jessica is super new here on Google+. And I had a private hangout with her earlier today. She's got a really cool shop over in New York. And I think you're going to see more of her. She's actually going to be on Those Four Girls soon. So shout out to Jessica. Thanks for tuning in. Apparently Roy liked what she said too. He even beat you to the punch with a quote here, Sherry. Everybody knows the deal.
Someone's taking my job.
Yep, someone's taking your job. He says, be yourself, everyone else is already taken. Oscar Wilde.
Nice.
Very good quote. Very good quote. Okay, so the next piece of our inspiration and motivation, it comes from Sherry, my lifelong quote master, and probably the person who made me love quotes so much. I'm not sure, but my guess is I got it from you. So, what do you got for us this week?
I have got, and it just left. I had it all set here. I didn't pay attention that the theme had changed to change. So you're getting my quote. Anyways, and sorry, I was all set.
No, give us the quote. I mean,
yeah, give us the quote.
No, I'm going to. I emailed it to myself, and I had it here so I could see it, and now I don't see it. That's what I mean. I'm going to give you the same one, but.
So the subject, let me be clear on this. The subject that we throw out is about the education second half of the show. Okay? James and Sherry, you guys like ignore that as you're preparing. Prepare whatever you want. And in fact, I would prefer that you don't even pay attention, because otherwise that whole serendipity piece that's so vital to Network Roundtable disappears. And just like yoga needs to be more involved in business HOAs, an embracing of serendipity needs to be more involved in business, in my mind. And it's been so cool how serendipity has taken over. So, that being said, Sherry, we really don't want the first half to be overly prepared. We just want to see how it ends up tying in with the second half.
Got it.
No.
Well, we weren't clear. Okay.
Okay.
Have you found it?
Like I say, no, I haven't found it, so I'm going to have to try and remember it, which is brutal.
Did you send it to me?
No, I just sent it to me, and I had it, and I must have touched something and sent it somewhere. So.
I have a really cool one.
You what?
Go for it.
I have a really cool quote that I must share. It's on the topic of change, but it's very different. It's by a very contrarian thinker. His name is Randy Gage, and he wrote a book called Risky is Safe. He's one of my favorite peeps, and he says in the book, cataclysmic change plus cataclysmic challenge equals breathtaking opportunity. It's one of my favorite quotes. What do you all think about that?
It's awesome.
Yeah, I like it. I really like it.
You all need to bookmark that book. Risky is the New Safe by Randy Gage.
Risky is the new safe. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I've unmuted myself for a second. Okay, I'm back to mute.
Go mute yourself.
Oh no. People plussing themselves and muting themselves. What are we going to do now?
I don't know. Too much self-love going on. Okay. Sherry, have you found it yet?
No, I haven't found it, but I'll remember it as best I can, and hopefully I won't butcher it.
Okay.
The quote is, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. And this quote was actually attributed to Winston Churchill, although there's a website that you can check and see if quotes are actually attributed to the right person. And it sounds like this one may not have been said by Churchill at all. So I don't know. The picture I had him quoted, had him getting the credit. But it sounds like there was a Budweiser commercial in the 30s that actually this may have come from. So we don't know. But it's a great quote. It's a great quote. And the point of it is, I think, as far as we're concerned as small business owners, is that success is not final, meaning once we reach a certain level that we've thought that's where we want it, there's another level that we can go after. We can keep improving. We can keep moving forward. And failure isn't fatal, meaning there's something beyond that failure. There's a benefit from what we've learned from it, and we're going to move forward, hopefully, through it. And it's not going to kill us. And then the last part, it's the courage to continue that counts. So with both of those, whether it's the success part or the failure part, it's the courage to continue. No matter what the day turns out like, no matter what the month turns out like, no matter what the sales look like, no matter what the reaction to some big project, we keep moving forward. We have that courage that we can achieve our vision, and we keep moving towards it. And I should mention, while I have the floor, I took a big step this week, and I gave my notice at my job on Monday. Woohoo!
Oh.
So I am so excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, she's been talking about it on this show for a while, wanting to do that. And now she did it. We actually knew she was doing it on last week's show, but she did it on Monday, so for pretty obvious reasons, we didn't broadcast.
Yeah, I didn't want it out there before I told them. So.
Well, yeah, that's smart.
We're very proud of you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
congratulations, Sherry. That's terrific.
And look at me. Don't I look de-stressed and happy?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
For now.
Oh, come on.
And another thing, might I point out, another thing, her first training on essential oils that she is doing post-leaving is next Tuesday. It's not up as an event yet, but I'm actually going to be broadcasting it and teaching her how to broadcast these trainings that she does. So if you want to learn about essential oils, she'll be talking about that next Tuesday
You do want to
night.
learn about essential oils, trust me.
Yes, we do.
So, all right. I think we're at the middle point here. And so, and our friend James is going to leave. Say bye, James.
Bye, James.
It was nice
Bye,
to
James.
Bye, James.
Thanks for having me. I'm in for the whole show from now on out.
All right, good.
See you, man.
See ya. Thanks, man. And next week we'll have it possible for broadcasting his workout, I hope.
And I'll stay for the whole show. Point that out.
Yeah, and he wants me to remind you he'll be here for the whole show. Like you didn't say that 3 or 4 times in the last 30 minutes. So, Stephanie, have you picked a question from those that have been put out that you want us to kind of round table here?
Well, I think, I was trying not to play favorites, but I think that Cheryl has the best question, because I think when we get into a difficult situation is when we maybe struggle the most. So I think Cheryl may have been referencing the quote that Christine gave us, but she said, can you have so much catastrophe that you stop breathing? Because remember, Christine, in your quote, it said the combination of those two things is breathtaking, right? And so I think maybe she was referencing that and saying, you know, okay, change may be a constant, but what do you do when the change is so brutal or so abrupt that you're kind of, you don't even know where to start? So I think that would be a great question to handle. And maybe if we find kind of a concrete example, your biggest client calls up and says, you know what, we're not going to do business with you anymore. Which for most small business owners is a kind of moment, right? What do I do? So I think it might be good if we could just give everyone some advice and say, okay, you know what, in that situation, here's what you need to do. So Christine, you want to start?
I do. I've had those breathtaking moments where you just feel like, you know, the world has stopped.
Right.
So from Randy's quote, with cataclysmic change plus cataclysmic challenge, when change occurs and when it's cataclysmic, when it's so life-shifting, I think James touched on it. He hit it right on the head. Our mindset is everything, and how we look at everything is everything. So one of my favorite quotes is by Dr. Wayne Dyer. It says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at begin to change. So in that cataclysmic change, like your biggest client says, I'm out of here, that's the time to stop, breathe, clear your mind, and see what other opportunities may be there for you to either improve yourself as a business person or improve your customer love. As one of my mentors, Simon T. Bailey, says, maybe we need to shift from customer service to customer love. So it's the clarity of mind that allows me to just see things from a different perspective and see where I can improve myself.
Absolutely agreed. I think that was well spoken. And yeah, when things like that happen, which they do, unfortunately, it's time for you to take a look at what you're doing and address the situation, but also, correct the problems, but see what you're doing that you're doing possibly not as good as you could, and correct that. So, well spoken, Christy.
Oh, thank you, Gina. You too. Ditto.
So Dennis, maybe from, I don't know, from a marketing standpoint, I can imagine, and I know it's happened to me, when you lose a client or when someone cuts back, even they don't have to go away completely, but when they cut back, it does kind of hit your confidence, right? And so maybe it's harder to go out and market and to believe in the value of the services that you offer, because you're like, well, wait a minute, this guy didn't want to work with me or this girl didn't want to work with me anymore. Is there something maybe we could do on the marketing side that could help us get that confidence back, or, should we just keep doing what we've always been doing?
Doing what you've always been doing is probably about the worst thing. In marketing, especially online marketing, the biggest change agent is the great Google. I mean, seriously, they up and change their algorithm, and everything we've done is out the door. And you're completely learning a whole new set of rules and scrambling to try and figure them out. And so in the face of change, I think, at least in the change that is so often dealt with in the world of online marketing, education and an underlying grasp of the deeper side of marketing. In other words, most of our life is spent in online marketing focusing to the great algorithm. But it's more important to, in my opinion, to be focused on the great truths of human interaction. I was told just a little while ago by somebody who is, in the world of sales training and sales education that, since How to Win Friends and Influence People, really there's been no, breathtaking ideas. It's been how to utilize those ideas, or alternatively, it's been a sad methodology of manipulation, one of the two. And so if you step back, pull back to deeper human, this is how we interact, this is why we interact, this is how we do things, then when those big changes come, you've got something to kind of steady yourself. There's something solid in your life, and yes, I can see the comments coming in from Phil Boyer already about breaking rules. And absolutely, I mean, dude, there is nobody else out here on the internet that is more with you on breaking rules. But all of that has to still be based in, I mean, a lot of my rule breaking is based on, okay, these rules have been set up, but they were set up ignoring the deeper human side of things, right? So the rule itself is, well, just plain stupid, So I think having a good solid base is one of the key things to getting through change. It levels that constant moving. It makes you not quite so seasick.
Yeah.
I like it.
I want to, if I can, that is right in alignment with the way that I think in terms of the way that I not just do business but live my life. We cannot do things alone. We can, but it's not wise to. Stephanie, you have, to me, one of the most fabulous coined terms I've ever heard called #Frienducation. Having a support system, having people that have your back, right? That have your back, that can support you, give you insight in those cataclysmic changes. I just experienced that 2 weeks ago. And Stephanie is someone relatively new in my life, but definitely a divine connection. And at the very moment that I felt I was going to lose it, she was right there. And she gave me insight and perspective to help me get through the change. So ditto to you, Dennis, and thanks, Stephanie, for being such a great friend.
You bet. It was my pleasure. It's so funny because as you started talking about that, when I was describing, I didn't think of that example until we started talking, but when I was describing it, the immediate thing that came to my mind was you got to have partners, right? Because, and I think you can have partners that play different roles in your business. I talk, for example, about financial partners, but the truth is that even if you get yourself into a situation, that like the one we're talking about where you lose a big client, you need to have that partnership established before you walk into your financial partner and say, you know what, I'm going to need some extra money. If you don't have, like Dennis was talking about as well, that existing relationship with somebody and they don't really get what you're trying to do, right? They don't believe in your business the way you do. If you can't get that across to them before you call on them and say, hey, you know what, I really need your help now, it's going to be harder for you to weather the change. But, I really like the idea of what Dennis said, that, Google, and I love Google, and Google Plus is free, and I have no beef with Google, but the problem is that we've just been trying to find actions that are proxies for the way people interact with each other. And up until now, it's been very hard to create, a system that really worked. And so people have been able to game the system, which is where the whole discussion with David Amerland and the A word, which nobody wants to say anymore, but there you go. Where semantic search, I think, is really going to help people is by doing a better job of helping someone express the real value of the connection that they have with another person across the internet. Up until now, we've had a really hard time defining that, and so the measures just haven't been sufficiently refined to let us get a good feeling for, is that a valuable connection for me or not. So hopefully going forward we'll get better at that, which means that we don't have to follow the rules, we'll just be able to make our own decisions. But I really believe, just like Christine and just like Dennis said, that ultimately the way you break the rules is by forming relationships that turn into partnerships that are really your support network. And some of those people may be supporting you both emotionally, and they may be there to help you bounce ideas off of, and they may give you money. They can support you in multiple ways, but you still have to have that basic relationship with them for it to work.
Well said.
Very well said.
Applause.
Oh. I'm not going to. I will
I've
not.
got him back.
Okay.
For some reason.
Yeah. Well, Gina, what do you think, Gina? I mean, what would your suggestion be for somebody who just lost a big client?
Well, first of all, I would try and find out why the client was leaving. Because I would want to know if I'm not doing something right, I would want to understand what I'm doing wrong. And second of all, I would try and win them back because, well, they're a big client. So, yeah, I didn't let it go like that, but I certainly wouldn't let them just walk out the door. I would be very professional about it, understand that everybody has different tastes, but find out what it is that I could do better so I don't lose the next big client.
Yeah, I like that, because I think that's sometimes hard to do too, right? You don't want to, it's already bad news, and you don't want to hear any more bad news, like here's exactly what you did wrong. But I think
no, it's not. It's not bad news. It is important news, maybe something that you need to listen to. So, all right, I accept it.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Gina. It's not bad news. It's important news.
Yes.
And it's ironic, Christine, when you were talking about how Stephanie had helped you out, I'm like, wow, my last 3 weeks have been an absolute parallel of your last 3 weeks with Stephanie in the same position.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Stephanie, you're wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes, you are wonderful.
Well, thank you. Don't tell anyone. Shh.
It's a
Okay.
secret. It's
Well,
just
you guys
between
want it?
you, me, and the 1 million people that will be reached by this content. Did you see that, guys? Did you see the stats
Yes.
this week?
I
We
was
broke
so
1 million.
excited. Yeah,
We broke 1 million.
that was so great. Yay!
Yay!
So, yeah. Now let's
Hey,
go.
Dennis, I have a question for you.
Okay.
I love your backdrop, which you changed a couple of weeks ago, but I'm curious about the pair of shoes hanging on the skateboard.
I'm glad someone asked.
I keep waiting for it to be like some object lesson.
It isn't. Well, it's more than an object lesson. Let me demonstrate these beauties. These are lovely, lovely shoes. There is actually no size in them. Oh, they're a 10WW. They fit me, though. And that is actually the point of them. Next Wednesday night, well, let's start with Monday. Monday,
You're
myself,
starting to frighten us.
Greg Trujillo, and Carolyn Capern, we have started a group called Plus Your Charity. And the first trial of our theories on online marketing for charities is, well, we're going to auction these shoes off. We're starting the auction at the, shout out to Rhonda Green, we're starting the auction at the Craft Star show Monday night. And then on Wednesday, I am actually going to walk a mile in these shoes live on a Hangout on air.
Oh, no.
While I'm talking
Yes.
with Carolyn and Greg, and I'm going to be walking around the Sandy Station where I broadcast the Bandwidth HOA. Because it's a big building, and they've got like lots of repeaters, so I can keep a Wi-Fi connection and just go around and around the building. So yeah, I'm gonna have my camera on a little dolly and be pushing it in front of me, and I'm gonna walk a mile in these, and then you can buy them.
No.
All the
Yes.
money will go to Harbor House of Florida. You can also buy Greg Trujillo's shoes, which he already walked a mile in. So his are up for sale. His are black. So if black is more your thing. And we're also taking pledges, and there's like, Stephanie, you've been involved with this whole weird something about me wearing a skirt or something for money. I'm not sure. What's this all about again?
Well, what happened was, you know how this works, Dennis. As soon as you get the Jerky Girls involved in anything, you're in big trouble. And so it wasn't me. Someone else, who we're not going to talk about, but you can discuss with later, started
Wait, is it somebody I actually can talk to face to face?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Who suggested that you should have to wear something, that if we were going to contribute, we should be able to pick what you got to wear. And so I said, I think that's a really great idea, and we'd even pay extra if we got to pick what you got to wear. And so then it just got totally out of hand, and I said, well, maybe you and Kirk should race. But I think that's probably going to have to be a different show when you and Kirk race in high heels. But
yeah,
there's something there. I really think you could do something with that.
Well, and it's official, so I can actually start talking about this. We don't have all the details down, but maybe we could do that race on June 21st or 22nd, because Mia Voss is coming to Utah for an IRL and fundraiser then as well. So maybe Mia could be the judge on whether Kirk or I are faster in high heels.
Yes, I love it. That's an excellent idea.
Okay, and we could get Mia and Cheryl to see who can run faster with a tool belt on or something.
Well, I think that I'm just letting you know, I do think that there may have been suggestions of a Speedo. Okay, but you didn't hear it from me.
No, we are.
Oh, please.
We've been
Please no.
traumatized by Speedos in our family.
No. No, sorry. Kibosh on that.
Come on, I'm certain I look exactly like Dad did in his Speedo when we lived at Barnum Road. I'm just saying, because I'm about
right.
the same age. So there's
But
an
maybe
image for you.
Maybe that's the problem, isn't it, Dennis?
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I can guarantee you Kirk would look better in a Speedo than I would. Just saying.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what those shoes are about. They're going to be there all the way up until a week from this Sunday, which is when the final auction is going to close down. And we'll take the final bid. But you'll be able to bid starting Monday. There's going to be like a picture of these shoes up on the Plus Your Charity page, and that's where all bidding will go. So even if you don't want to bid, jump on there and like root for your favorite buyer of the shoes and get involved. And we even have contingency plans in place in case anything gets to 500. Well, I mean, come on. My partners are Greg Trujillo and Carolyn Capern. We got some brain power. We've figured out what we're going to do if things reach 500 and break. So bring it on. We want you to get involved. Whether you give us money or you give us Google Plus love, we really will take it all. So there you go.
Okay, what time Wednesday?
Wednesday at 7:02 Mountain Standard Time is when we will start. And we're going to be on a whole bunch of HOAs. We're going to be on A View from the Edge next week. We're going to be on, man, I can't even, I think one of us is going on one of Dennis's shows, Chef Dennis's shows. And, I mean, we're going to kind of be everywhere next week talking about these shoes.
All right.
Did we lose Christine?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I
Yeah, she's
can.
still here.
Okay. She's just not moving on my computer, but again, I think that's just my computer problems.
Comments and listening. I'm back. I'm present.
Exactly. So, I don't know, did anybody have maybe any closing thoughts about change? We've got, there's a cool thing that Elena shared with us. She said, one of the reasons is a response to external pressures, and those changes are reactive changes. Other changes are proactive changes, and the reason is for internal demand. So it's true, I think maybe it's easier, at least to me it always seems easier if you're the person who decides you want to change than it is if some change is kind of forced upon you. But I don't know, maybe everybody's different. What do you guys think?
One of my self-proclaimed titles is proactive lifestyler. It's just more positive than recovering procrastinator. Come on now. I was chronic. So I love that she used the word proactive, and that's who I was going back and forth with in the comments, because change is inevitable. The one thing that's constant is change. And the internal, being prepared and proactive to anticipate as much as possible what may happen, especially with your mindset, that's what helps me keep ahead of the change curve. But when the times come that change catches you by surprise, or it's so much pressure that you're unable to handle it alone, that's where a little help from the friends always gets me through.
Yeah, I think that's great. But yeah, do you guys find it's easier if you're the one trying to change? Because James was mentioning that he's got a client who has a hard time creating change for him or herself. So I don't know, which one do you think is tougher? When you want to change, or when somebody else forces you to change?
Well, definitely when you're forced to change, for me.
Okay.
I mean, if it's something I'm choosing, I'm much more on board with it. When it's something that is forced on me, it takes more work for me to adjust my attitude and direction.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. And I also think that change is an inevitable part of business, and so it's good to be prepared for change, because you're going to have a pathway and a solid, direction, and it's going to change. So, the economy will change or your customers will change. And so it's always good to be prepared for change and accept it, agree with it, not necessarily agree with it. Sometimes it's just not time to change. But anyways, I find that change is the way to success because you have to stay on top of it. And so you're always, think of yourself as moving on a boat. You're always trying to stay afloat. And so change as you need to change, shift your weight, make sure you're okay, but you have to go with the change. And I don't know, I've found that's been my way to success, is just being able to change.
Adaptable comes to mind, yeah? Adapt to change.
Adapt to change, yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of having a business, so just adapt to it. Deal with it.
Yeah, I like it.
Worked for me.
Yep, and it's just gonna happen. So, go with it.
Yep.
It's better to go with it than stress yourself out, because stressing yourself out is just going to, I think, make matters worse. I know it's going to, physically you start to feel ill, blood pressure goes up, ulcer, whatever. So it's better, like Gina says, to just go with the flow, adapt to the changes. It's going to happen, and just breathe through it.
Right. And then make the changes that make you successful once again. So just go with it. And don't lose any sleep over it.
And often what looks like something terrible, traumatic at the time, ends up being a blessing. And with hindsight, you look back and you think, oh, I'm so glad it worked out that way. So if we can try to think that way in the middle of it, it's like maybe this is working out exactly as it's supposed to for my benefit.
You are so right about that. So right. The change that Stephanie helped coach me through a couple weeks ago, I literally thought I was going to die, curled up. And the opportunities after I accepted the change and, like Sherry just said, looked for the bigger blessing in the change. I started my own HOA show, and opportunities have been flying left, right, and center just from me shifting my thinking and adapting to that change. So I'm excited now. 2 weeks ago, I thought the world was over.
Mm-hmm. And that's how you do it, girl. Just shift with it, go with it, and adapt to it, and you'll make it work.
Love it.
Well, and it's very funny because I think it's sort of the cycle that happens, right? Because when you get down and you get upset about the change happening and you resist it, then, like you said, it creates stress and it makes you less resistant to everything else that's happening, and it kind of creates this cycle of negativity. Whereas if you just accept it and you just say, it's not what I wanted, but maybe there's a reason. This is happening, like you said, Sherry. This is happening because it's exactly what's supposed to happen right now. Then it takes that weight off of you and it lets you just focus on what's the next step. What's the next thing I need to do? I don't waste energy thinking, gosh, this is horrible. I wish I didn't do this. I wish this hadn't happened. Yeah. I mean, of course, it's easy to say that, right? When it's you, trust me, I know the feeling. You're like, I cannot believe this. It's the end of the world. This is never going to happen. It's not going to work out the way I thought. But that's where friends, hopefully, and partners, can come in and help you and say, hey, let's be objective. Let's see where this really fits and how it really affects you.
And then a couple months later, take a look back and say, okay, it really wasn't that bad, and it was a good thing. Look at what has come from this. This is good.
Yep. And it's beautiful to see, like you said, Gina, how far you've come, right? To say, oh, wow, I thought it was, like even Christine said, I thought it was the end of the world, and in fact, it turned out to be great.
Right, exactly. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got an analogy, and I don't have the world experience to know for sure whether or not I'm on here, but I think I've got the beginnings of a key piece to what we're talking about. So I've always been fascinated with surfing. I am a skateboarder, and I love skateboarding, but I've never actually been surfing. Gina, you've been surfing, but I don't know
Seriously,
if you've ever,
I could help you there.
but I don't know if you've ever been surfing on big enough waves to have dealt with this. But I see these surfing movies, and I watch quite a few of them, and you see these guys, and at a certain point, the waves are so big they can no longer just ride up over the top of them because they're so big that they will just throw them over, and they'll never get where they want to go. They have to
Mashed
do this
potatoes.
weird dive move to go right
Yes.
through the middle of the wave and pop out the other side.
Yes, that's
Yep.
correct. Mashed potatoes, it's called.
What's it called?
Mashed potatoes.
Okay, great. The name makes me think of exactly what it feels like. Okay, in my mind, what you're having to do here is go right into the eye of a horrible storm. I mean, that water has got to be crashing around you, and it's got to be massively intense, and popping out that other side and being able to finally grasp your breath again has got to be just an amazing feeling, and even more amazing surfing something that large when you finally get out there and can come surfing back in. But Gina, is going through that mashed potato, is that as bad as it appears to be? I've been Maytagged before going river rafting, and that's pretty intense. But I've never done mashed
Nothing like surfing. Mashed potatoes is, well, you're going to get banged up, and you got to make sure where you get mashed, because if you're, you have to be in deep water, and yeah, it's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right. It's okay. If you like getting, 30 tons of water squished on your head and you can't breathe, it's really great. It's fun.
It's a wonderful thing. So
You just
on,
get
Gina.
tumbled over and over, tumbled over and over and over, and then you're fine.
So my point here is, as you're heading out and you're going through that wave and trying to come out the other side so that you can get to where you want to go, sometimes the motion of going with the flow is a bizarre motion. It's not a complete give up everything. It may require us to actually jump right into the thick of whatever it is that we're going through, gain the most we can out of that experience, and get the crap out of there as fast as we can, having learned what
That
we
is
need to
true.
learn and getting on with life.
Right.
But sometimes going headlong into the disaster is, at least for me, the best way to get through it and get out the other side.
Wait for the hide when it's like really scary, and then you jump off the edge, and you dive over it, and then you duck under the next wave, and yeah, then you're able to ride the waves back. So.
That's a fantastic analogy. Now you're on my favorite peeps list, Dennis.
Yay! That was my goal today, actually.
Yeah.
I was so in love with your profile pic that all I wanted to do was be on your favorite peep list.
Well, you're on the favorite peeps list. I appreciate the accolades for the pic. I was mortified when I saw it, blown up on your HOA. But I agree. The changes, the thing that happens with us as humans is we tend to live either in the future or in the past. We're not in the present. And so when
Absolutely.
change happens, when change happens, we go into that avoidance mode. We try to pedal back, or we try to go, think forward and say, well, what's going to happen? And like you say, the art of letting go is not letting go of taking action. It's more so letting go so that you can go through the experience. I find that those rough quotes periods, like you all have been saying, it's it's like a refinement. It shows you what you're made of. I'm not a surfer, I'm not a skateboarder, but I could so relate to that analogy. Thank you.
Well, cool.
Yay! I taught somebody something today.
You did.
All right. Well, let's open up the comment tracker, or the comments, for our lightning round, which lightning round now is not the responsibility of our wonderful +1 guest, Christine. It is now the responsibility of all of you. So, go ahead and, obviously the subject of today was change. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a conversation around what has come out as tying all of this together. What serendipity happened today that tied together the disjointed pieces of Network Roundtable, today's episode of Network Roundtable. So yeah, like coffee talk amongst yourselves.
Go ahead. Chat amongst yourselves. We'll just wait.
Now for something completely different.
I was waiting. I was like,
joke.
When were you going to say it? Come on.
Well, we didn't create a section around it. We just talked about that it would be a cool section in the middle of the show somewhere. What I should have done is gone, and now for something completely different.
There you go.
Well,
And that is totally different.
by the way, what I didn't clearly point out is this money is for domestic violence awareness, education, and protection in Central Florida. So, thus the walk a mile in her shoes tie-in. So, I don't know if I was clear on that anyway.
Right.
All right. Well, closing thoughts, Stephanie.
Yes, sir.
What do you have?
My closing thoughts are that I really appreciate Christine being here, and I really am excited all over again to get to spend time with Gina and Sherry and you and James, because I think every time that we do this, I learn something, and hopefully other people learn something too. But it's just, I don't know, I just really enjoy it, and so thank you for letting me be here.
We love having you here.
Yes, we do.
Sherry.
I just leave feeling a little bit more encouraged and excited to get going and keep going. So I really hope that that's what people who are watching are getting from it as well. But for me, it's perfect.
Good deal. Gina.
Well, I wanted to inspire entrepreneurs, not new entrepreneurs. These are people that are already in the business. I wanted to inspire them. I never got to give that little talk, so we can do that next week. But the weird thing is, it was about changes. Changes. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, I think fit in perfectly well with what we were talking about, and I can talk about that a different week. But yeah, I appreciated everything that everyone had to add to the conversation, because I thought it was very well put together, and for some reason all in sync about the same thing. So thank you all for what you had to add.
Thank you for being a part of our panel. We just wish we could see more than just your smiling face.
Sorry
and
about
Christine. And Christine, closing thoughts for the entire show. What do you have for us?
Closing thoughts are, number one, it's an honor to meet all of you for the first time, except for Stephanie, of course. Thank you for having me, and I just love meeting like-minded entrepreneurs, and you all are a great, great group of entrepreneurs and people. So I'm looking forward to getting to know each one of you much, much better. And that's it. I'm just excited to be here. Thank you.
Yay!
Well, thank
We loved
you.
having you here, and please, you know, as a now a part of the you know, RoundTable community, RoundTable network. Please come back, join in our conversation. We'd love to have you.
Thank you. I'd love to.
Yes, we would.
All right. Well, we will be back next week. Hopefully, we will be on time next week. Hopefully, gremlins and computer critters will not violate our starting time. But if they do, we will definitely be on at some point in time. You can rest assured.
Yes.
and thank you for everyone. Please continue to join in the lightning round conversation about what was this week's episode all about, and help us in the conversation for next week's event to determine what exactly our subject should be. Thanks again. We'll see you guys all next week.
Thank you so much. Have a great week.